Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Offline with Lopez Radio, episode 3 actually, with our good friend Ashley Anderson. She is the streamer known as KittyKosmos. I've known her for quite a few years now. We met through Twitch Atlanta, and she's just a whole lot of fun. As you'll see, we kind of bounce all over the place, but we kind of stick to it. We stick to the offline thing as best we can until we make it to my other show, Lopez Radio, which you can check out the link for that below. I'll have a link to the video for that podcast, as well as a link to how to get the audio for that podcast. But today, we're going to be talking about mental health for creators. We're also going to be talking about knowing when to change things up, the importance of the timing you have on platforms. Like sometimes people just get there before you, and when that gets crowded, you have to work a little harder to be seen. Advice is not always one size fits all, too. When you see other creators out there giving advice, be wary. Understand that they're in a different position than you are. And we also talk about something that's very important. That's something that Ashley's been working on, which is taking a step back before going forward, right? So sometimes you have to take a step back and take a look at things and retool. And we talk about the inevitability, especially if you're trying to make a living out of content creation, the inevitability of that turning into work. If you want to follow Ashley on social media or Twitch, it's KittyKosmos on Twitch, and it's at It's KittyKosmos on Instagram and Twitter. Enjoy the episode. Let's get into this offline thing. Okay. So, how long have you been streaming now?
It'll be 4 years next month.
And you started as the Catnip Crusader. That's when I learned about you.
I did.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, gamer tags are weird. And I think I put so much thought into that as well. Mm. The Catnip Crusader. I mean, it just had a cool...
That sounds like you had a couple of nights where you stayed up with a whiteboard.
I did. I totally did. I thought about that shit for weeks. I wrote it down. Like, right. Yeah. And I was just like, this is it.
Catnip Warrior, Catnip,
Yeah. Catnip Queen.
Catnip Goddess. Catnip,
Catnip Vixen. All the girls put Vixen in their name, like all the e-girls. The Vixen.
So you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
And I feel like just the few years we've known each other, the way you've approached it's kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And kind of what I want to focus on this is like the mental health aspects of when you know you've got to change it up, when you know you're kind of tired of what you're doing, because I feel like that's something that I know I've run into a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing offline now. That's why I'm leaning more into the podcast stuff, is because I kind of had that moment of like, I'm just playing a video game and I'm not really doing anything with this.
Right. Right.
What, I know you've been changing things up for yourself lately, and it's been a little more like showcasing your personality. I mean, not that you didn't before, but now it's like way more that you're way more like, look, I don't care. Yeah. This is me.
Yeah. Which has been really fun. Like, I'm starting to really have fun with it. But yeah, like all that, because like you have this idea like of what streaming is, and there's a stereotypical streamer, right? That's just like a gamer and just like Omega lol, like Heck W, just all that Twitch speak. And it was really cool at first. And, honestly, I never would have reached partner in the success that I did if it weren't for that, kind of style. But then I soon quickly realized like, I'm so much more than that. And I'm an artist, and I'm an entertainer, and I'm an actor. And I just feel like so limited into, like what I can do. Like you and I have more of these kind of, we like to talk about things. We like to, we love comedy, and it's like really tough because even though Twitch, there is an older audience on there for sure. It's just and it's just interesting because what content was originally established as a gaming platform is evolving. Literally everything from like cam girls to sleep streams to people just gaming, like still the OG, gamers. Like I feel like some of the OG people on there that stuck with gaming are some of the still more successful ones. And it's so hard to be just that. Yeah.
It's a wild timing thing, right? Like it's, people like someone like a Co-Carnage, right? He's been doing it forever.
Yeah.
And he was here when the whole platform kind of got started.
Yeah, on like Justin TV and all that stuff.
And that stuff helps someone, right?
Yeah.
If you're the first in. But I feel like it's so hard to know what's going to take off. How many different things have come up to be like, oh yeah, we're going to do the thing Twitch is doing. There was like caffeine.tv. There was all these other streaming platforms that ended up not doing anything, but on the off chance, like even the biggest, like Microsoft, they had their own thing going on with Mixer. And even Microsoft couldn't do the thing that they were trying to do, which is take over kind of the Twitch space and at least have a stake in it. And they tapped out. Like that's like,
well, they did them. If they'd stuck around and just created more competition, they obviously just F themselves over by
I feel like that's the case.
Trying to cherry pick,
trying to take some of the things, but not take the things that worked for Twitch. Right?
Yeah.
But there comes a time when you got to be like, all right, I'm tired of, I feel like I'm not showcasing exactly what I can do.
Exactly.
And I feel like you've kind of hit that.
Yeah, constantly. I mean, I'm already very like ADHD and I get bored. Like the idea that when I grinded for Partner, the idea that I had to show up and do something consistently and it was going to be the same every single time. I'm like, well, that's why I avoided ever doing an office job because like, am I allowed to curse, by the way?
Yeah, go for it.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
It's like showing up, same thing every single time. Okay, I get it. Like get to be my own boss and do shit. But like the whole reason I wanted this, job was for flexibility and that, I can, bounce around. And so pushing for Partner was probably one of the harder things I've ever had to do in my life, like playing the same game over and over again. And it was still fun because the game was hopping and there was still like so much content. So I was still able to like troll and have a good time and like find my niche in like comedy and mess around because like I'm a super casual gamer.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually I was just like, as the game was dying and people were just kind of watching it less and less. I was like, okay, well, at some point, it's like I have to pull the plug and I just have to take that leap of faith and just start, doing shit and just know it's going to affect my, I was just watching my paycheck go down, my numbers go down, the amount of money, like viewership. And eventually I just had to be like, all right, well, it's obvious, like the analytics are telling me this is eventually going to die. So if I don't just start trying to do, which they originally tell you, right? Just do what you have fun doing. Just like, which pisses me off, by the way. I get pissed off about a lot of things, but that makes me really angry. They're like, just have fun. Do what you want to do and you'll be successful because people see that you're having fun and they'll be attracted to you.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go play some fucking indie game to 5 people and have fun with that.
What's funny is sometimes the people telling you to do that aren't even there when you do it.
Yeah. I'm like where were you? The asshole that was just like, we'll follow you no matter what. That's right. I'm talking to you. Wherever you went, you're probably gone now. You'll probably never see this, but fuck you. The people that told me, just go do what you want to do, Kitty, Ashley, we love you. We'll watch you no matter what. Where are you? Where's that Twitch Prime sub? Where'd you go? You're not here. I don't see you.
And I think there's a lot of, and that's kind of why I started this. I was talking to my friend Nick last week and he, we were talking about the fact that there's just terrible advice out there too. There's so much terrible advice and it's all the same advice. Like, you got to go network. You got to do this. And you're kind of like, everybody's doing the same thing. Like everybody's clicking on your videos, like gain more views by just doing this one simple thing. And you're like,
have you been getting these Twitch workshop, like emails?
I don't think so.
So I don't know if they do it for just partners, but they host a lot of workshops, like online workshops. So one day I was feeling positive and I was like, I'm going to put my ego aside and I'm going to go to one of these fucking workshops. Like they have them at TwitchCon as well, like physical ones where you go in and they're like, listen to so-and-so speak about how the algorithm works and how it can benefit you, how important the title for your live stream is, and, whatever, how to be more engaging with your audience and your content. And I literally was making fun of this last night. Like, okay, no offense, Pokimane, I don't fucking know you. Like, we'll never probably ever meet. But literally this workshop right now was with Pokimane. Like, I just got an email about this like yesterday, and it was like how to be like create more engaging content and I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, but we're completely, this is apples and oranges. I curse, I do comedy. I have really like a dark, sadistic, like sense of humor. She's literally like, ooh, like an ooh streamer, like
right.
anime, cute, and, plays Valorant. And it's just, and then I was making fun of like all the top gamer streamers that literally don't even fucking engage with their audience, and I'm just like, how is this advice relevant to me?
Well, and it's weird taking advice from someone who's already gotten there, like not that that's they don't have something they could teach you, but they got there in a different time. A lot of them, like you said, timing with people like O'Carnage and stuff like that. Yeah. They were just already there.
Right.
So they had the luck of already being there, and no one ever leans over and be like, hey, sometimes it's just luck. Right place, right time.
Right.
When I first started doing this, because I've been doing it for a little over 3 years, it was like, yeah, raid this person, they'll raid you back. Like, and it's a lot of that. But it's so saturated. It's so saturated, and it's hard to break out. And like the only thing you can do now is like do your like the content you want to do, and that's the only thing that's going to set you apart from anyone else.
Yeah.
And no one's telling you that, because they're just like, no, you need to make sure you do this. You need to make sure you're not, getting too locked in. It's like, well, then tell me about Shroud, or tell me about this person that's like completely playing the game detached.
Right.
And they're established, so it's a little different. But
right.
I just feel like there's so much terrible advice out there.
Totally. If anything, and at first I was very like, and Harris Heller, like we became friends a while back. We met, and I got to go on his, dream hack thing when he interviewed me. At first I used to roll my eyes at like some of the advice, that people would say, like, I got angry because honestly it was because he was telling the truth, like about monetization and having multiple streams of income. Like
diversifying.
He and Sam, they kept saying that all the time, like diversify. You want to have you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. And like everyone was just like, people were getting upset about the idea that like, okay, so I have to like, set myself up when I already have money coming in, but now I'm going to spread myself too thin, like, and set up other revenue. Like I just don't have time or the energy or whatever for it. But it's 100% true. Like, I'm now starting to get slowly monetized on other places, like finally on Instagram, like Instagram bonus reels, and I'm having a blast making those, because that's where the short form content, on TikTok, I'm trying to get, monetized on there eventually. But like, yeah, it's so true. Like that's really the only way. Like it's just constantly just cutting that content up and recycling it and putting it out in different, places is just... It's a lot.
It's a lot of work. And I think that especially people who have been streaming on something like Twitch for a while, be it a few years or whatever, like the idea or the thought of even taking a step back in order to gain ground somewhere else.
Yeah.
It just, it doesn't compute in their head.
No.
Like, why would I? They feel like they're throwing it away. Right. And you're not really, but you have to... Sometimes you do have to take a slight step back in order to get to a next level.
Yeah.
Even my dad told me about that. Like, he's a pilot. So, he's like, sometimes if you want to go to a different company, they're going to start you out maybe a little bit lower than what you're making at your current company, but they're going to have the ability to pay you more later. So it's kind of that idea of like, you have to be okay with taking that cut in viewership and whatever you decide to do. And I think a lot of people aren't comfortable doing that. I think a lot of people are just kind of like, but I fought for this and I did this and I worked hard for it. And maybe you did, but if you're stuck doing one thing, the ship's going to sink eventually.
And we don't know where Twitch is going right now there's more and more videos that are coming out. Like it could pull a mixer at any point, and I know a couple people jump ship, like Harris. He literally just released a video the other day. Harris Heller again, that I'm talking about, with the Senpai Gaming or whatever, formerly known as Alpha Gaming, about his $150,000 pay cut. Like, God, I wish I could just make $150,000 in a year on Twitch alone, but because he jumped ship early to go to YouTube.
And it's important to put those things into perspective too, because like he was lucky enough to jump in and do the Stream Beats thing, which I think helped him out a lot. And he doesn't keep that a secret at all. Like no. He does. He makes a lot of money off of Stream Beats, and that helps. Like, and not everybody has that, especially when you're talking about people who like you, this is what you do for a living,
right.
I've got friends like my friend Curdy. This is what she does for a living. She doesn't have a job. Like she makes her money on Twitch.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be like, oh, just change it up. And it's like, well, I got to pay my bills. So if I change it up, how do I pay my bills?
That could be an entire that can be $1,000 pay cut for me for a weekend do a different game. You know, like I don't make a lot of money. Okay. Let's just put that out there right now. Like a lot of people think that I make a crazy amount of money. Like, okay, maybe for this job, my first year that was really successful, I think I walked away with $50K, which is pretty cool. That was a good year for me. Sure, and that was the most money I'd ever made in my entire life. This is coming from someone who went from restaurant job to restaurant job to just not even like paying my student loans on time. Like, even now I couldn't like probably buy or own a car or any of the things that I want to own. And again, like my paycheck is gonna, like this year, I'm probably gonna suffer a 50% pay cut from having to change my content. But yeah, like I had a goal usually every weekend of how much money I wanted to make. And people will be like, oh, that's actually pretty good. You made that amount of money in those like 2 days or 3 days, right? Oh, you only have to work 3 days. And you're like, yeah. But it's exhausting. And I put everything into those 2 or 3 days when I am creating that content. And then I am working on fixing and doing shit during like the week and trying to create other content and manage Discord and do all this crap and stay healthy and fit and work on my emotional well-being. Yeah. It's absolutely exhausting.
The casual doesn't see all that work. Like, my friend that's editing YouTube videos into the night because she's not to the point where she can afford an editor or anything like that. So like all they see is like, oh, when they see you when you're live, and they're like, oh, that's the good life. And it's like, yeah, but I may be here 3 days a week, but I'm also the other 4. I'm doing other shit to keep this going,
and they don't even see what it takes to just press that going live button. Like how the emotional battle, like the struggle of like, will I make enough money tonight? Will people like me? Am I going to have fun? Why am I doing this? Do I do something different tonight? I kind of want to try something different, but I don't know what I want to do. Do I take that leap of faith? Do I do that and just like say, fuck the paycheck? Or, do I play that one game because my friend's been asking me forever to play a game with him, but like, I'm like, it's like, it's terrifying.
It is. And I think that there also comes a point where mentally you suffer for that, because you get stuck in that loop of doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah. And then it just becomes a job. And that's been kind of the people I've had on so far onto the show is just like, at some point it becomes something where you're kind of like, well, I may not work at an office, but I've got to walk into that office and sit down and do the same thing I'm doing, whether it's
still a job.
I might be playing a game, but I'm so tired of playing this game.
Yeah, it's a fucking job. It's work. Okay, I'm not a waffle waitress. Right. Much love to all the waffle waitresses out there. Met some really nice waffle waitresses. I got that from Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks says something about it. Is that the joke that he does about how much do you know Bill Hicks comedy?
A little bit, not much.
There's one about like he's reading a book in a Waffle House or something, and they're like, "What you reading for?" And he's like, I don't fucking know because I don't want to become a waffle waitress. So, I always say like Walmart greeter or waffle waitress. Yeah. But there's no shame in doing either. But I don't want to do those things. I'm a creative and.
Well, yeah, and people get different fulfillment out of different things, right? And some people, look, there's people who are perfectly fine doing data entry every day of their life until they retire, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's death to me.
But like. Creatives, like and the people I'm talking to on here, it's like there's got to be something more. You could even make it with what you're doing and still be like, yeah, but I need something different, especially because you hit a certain point where you're like, well, I figured this out. Now how do I differentiate this,
right?
Or how do I make a change to it? And it takes a lot of, I don't know. It takes a lot of guts to just be like, I'm gonna walk away from this and do something else. But I mean, even in your case, or in any other creator's case, like to just take a vacation, you're voluntarily just not getting paid.
Yeah,
because you're not here to do it. You might do some content that would come up later that might help you out, but in the meantime, like you're not live.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's part of the thing that Twitch streamers suffer from is like they've set it up to where you constantly feel like you have to be live, and if you're not live, you're losing ground, and it's kind of intoxicating, right?
Yeah.
You kind of get in that trance of like, well, I was like so at your height of doing Twitch content, what was the most you'd done in a week, or you were doing on average in a week?
Like in terms of hours, like streaming?
Hours, days, whatever.
Yeah, it's funny because like, you know, most people are very conservative with their energy levels when they stream. Again, a lot of people are very like monotone and, you know, they don't do like super crazy stuff. Part of that could be like because I am drinking a lot of times too. So there's like only so many hours that you can drink you know, but speaking of drinking, cheers. Yeah, I started forcing myself to try to do like a 10-hour stream. I don't know how people do that. I can do 5-6 hours maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. These guys go 14, 20 hours multiple days a week. And I'm just like, and maybe again, because they're conserving energy and they're actually gaming and probably really enjoy, you know, it's like I can game offline and like focus. And I've easily played or gamed like Dark Souls or something, like spent a day, you know, when I was really like into gaming before I started getting paid for it, and then kind of got a little PTSD whenever I game offline now because I just associate it with work. So sadly, like, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, you make that connection and you can't break it.
Yeah. But yeah, when I was like gaming before I turned it into, you know, whatever it is now, even though I'm not gaming as much, you know, I would be able to game for longer hours. But now Friday, Saturday, by the time I go live, I got in the habit of going live late because that's just, I feel like people piled in more around like 9 or 10 o'clock. So when I was pushing for a partner, I was starting at like 9 or 10 p.m. I was going till 4 a.m., something like that. So, and I just got in the habit of that being my kind of like work shift now. So, which is not healthy, even though I'm a naturally night owl. Like I would love to be able to just go live in the middle of the day and just be like,
that would be the dream, right?
Yeah.
A normal ass day.
Yeah. See some sunlight, you know. But
East Coast is tough. East Coast is like by the time at a normal time. So if I stream, I'm streaming on at like a, you know, a normal prime time, 7-8 o'clock, few hours, 4 hours.
Yeah.
And so is everyone else.
Yeah.
Like so is everyone on the East Coast, and then like you're also hitting that time where everybody from the West Coast is getting off work and starting streaming.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You're probably talking about the worst time you could be streaming to get seen.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know a lot of creators that got partnered because they were going late, starting late and just being like, all right, screw it, I'm gonna just be the late person. But then like you run into that problem of like, okay, now that I'm partner, let's start moving the time back a little bit.
Right.
And they run into a problem because the people that watch them aren't off work yet, or they're still doing stuff.
Right.
Or, you know, they're not in there. You know, it's such a tough thing to change it up, but I think it's so important to realize when you need to.
Yeah.
And I feel like you kind of realize.
I mean, I'm going through that right now. It's been a long battle. I've been, you know, trying to rip the Band-Aid off for years now. And thankfully I have a really awesome editor who has, you know, been, because I'm an awful procrastinator. And thankfully he's been taking the initiative of just doing shit for me and then sending it to me and like staying on my ass about stuff. Like, I cut up this video for you. It's like,
look at it
here, like we're releasing this video this week, you know? And then, so the TikToks and the reels, like that short form, cause I say so much fun, ridiculous, crazy stuff. Like there's so many great short form things that I can share, on Instagram and TikTok. But the YouTube videos, that's been a little complicated because it's not like, I feel like a lot of people don't like gaming highlight shit. I feel like it's irrelevant now on YouTube. Whereas maybe before, especially when the couple reasons I also grew, we used to submit clips to PUBG highlights and PUBG what the fuck videos, WTF videos.
Right.
They had a huge following when PUBG was really big, and they would edit it and show like the funniest, you know, clips of every couple days. You know, now they maybe post a video every month or 2 months because PUBG's dead. It's just dead.
Sure, yeah.
And, you know, that's how I got so many of my followers. You know, you'd be asleep and then you'd wake up and you'd have 100 offline follows, you know, and because your clip, you know, got showed. And that was awesome. But then now it's like, all right, then those people would subscribe to my YouTube and I would make YouTube like PUBG highlight videos, but of like my funny interactions, not like, you know, sweaty gameplay, you know,
right.
Because like all the sweaty gameplay with like the cool music and like montage and like headshot, 360 no scope, you know, all that bullshit. But now it's like my stuff has kind of turned into like long form, almost like a podcast. It's like interactive podcast.
I feel like
gaming
because it matches my personality a little more. I feel like I like it, you know, just because honestly, I don't fault any, because I still play games on my stream too, but like I absolutely open up and it's like an hour or two of just sitting around bullshitting, you know, and I feel good doing that because it suits me a little better.
Right.
I used to just open up and go straight into games and I don't know. I just had to. There's something about it that just didn't at some point click with me, and I was like, I'm not liking this because I don't feel like I'm doing myself any justice creatively. Yeah.
Well, see, I was the opposite. People used to yell at me and tell me to game faster when I was playing PUBG. They were like, "You get an hour tops if you want to make partner. Like, you gotta start playing PUBG right away." And I was like, "But I don't want to play PUBG right away. I want to talk to people."
Yeah, it's. And you have to kind of, as a creator, I feel like you have to just kind of accept the audience for what they are, right? They show up. You're always going to have the people that are going to be there, whether you know, regardless if you're streaming.
Until they're not.
Until they're like, hey, do whatever you want to do.
Just be happy. I'll follow you no matter what. Wherever you go, I go.
Yeah, and you just have to, I don't know. Like you have to like kind of embrace those people who are there at all times, because you do have those folks. Like it doesn't matter if you're just sitting around talking. It doesn't matter if you're laying on the floor talking. Like it's you have those people that are going to show up, and then you have the people that are going to show up when you fire up your game, and that's just the nature of the beast. Some people are lucky to have more of those folks, and some people are unlucky enough to have less of those folks, and
it's kind of hard because I'm an asshole too. I think I've pissed a lot of people off. I have my moments, you know. It's like, again, Joe Rogan says this all the time. We're totally gonna get suppressed on YouTube now because I said his name. We'll bleep that part out. Jamie, can we cut that part? Okay.
How dare you?
It's like you give me a microphone and fucking put me live for a certain amount of time. I'm gonna fucking say stupid shit, or I'm gonna, you know, drink too much, or just be. A lot of the problem too is like I party on my streams, and like that obviously is just caught up to me like so much. I'm just like, I can't be the party girl every single stream. Like sometimes I want to stare and just be like, I'm just gonna play a game and like have Shroud level, and just be really monotone and
super focused. And
thanks for the 5 gifted.
You
know,
appreciate your $1,000.
Thanks. You know, just like casually, reason. Thanks for the $1,000 dono. Back to gaming. You know,
appreciate that.
Instead of just being like, holy fucking ballsack, holy shit, thank you for the.
Believe it,
oh, let's fucking go. You know, I just I'm just authentic. Like I can't help it. Like that's just who I am. Yeah. I have no way of like. There's no in between.
I feel like there's not enough. I feel like there's not enough people just being honest about what doing that type of content is, right? What sitting there and being like, you know what, I'm just gonna have an honest night, and I'm gonna be myself, because I feel like sometimes, like at first when people are into it, like when you were hyper into the whole Twitch thing, Twitch culture, I was there too. Yeah, where it's like, yeah. I'm bought in. We're doing this. Like you're almost like the company man, right? Yeah. You're going in and you're like, I love this place. Yeah. You know, LOL, Omega, all this stuff. You're buying into the whole culture of it, right? Yeah. And then I think at some point you reach that where you're like, this is dumb. Like, why am I talking like this? Yeah. Because there was a drastic difference between. Let's see. I went to TwitchCon 20. When was the last one we went to? 2019.
The one that I saw you at
was 2019,
where we took photos in the photo booth.
Yeah, 2019 at the Dead by Daylight party.
Yeah.
It was me, you, and my buddy Crucial. Like we were all just being goofy.
Yeah. So goofy.
And then the year before, on 2018 was the first year I went to a TwitchCon, and just the mentality of the people between that 1 year, like the first year you're kind of like, everybody was like, this is great, we're all in this together, blah blah blah. The next year it was like just people seeking out
a little more LA vibes.
Yeah.
Like if you know,
you're a
networking,
partner, what can you do for me? Yeah.
Just rubbing shoulders. How can I get into that +1 into the partner party? Even though they didn't allow that 1 year, they stopped allowing the +1 because they got like cheap or something. Well,
it's because they messed up. The 2018 they messed up and they overbooked the party, and so many people showed up.
And then like no one was at.
No one could get in.
You know what? Fucking who's that huge DJ? Dylan Francis.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's like friends with like Jen and Julian and all those guys. He's like a huge DJ, plays to like massive crowds. Like I don't know if it's like EDM or dance or whatever. I'm sorry, I don't listen to this shit. Like I'm an old fart at heart. Like I'm like a 55-year-old dude trapped in a 35-year-old woman's body. But he was DJing. And I remember my friend Uzi Princess, she was like the only one that really was like paying attention going, that's Dylan Friend. Like I think she was at the stage, literally just there with her own party of one. No one gathered around. Everyone was just kind of like, a couple of us were like mingling and talking, but he was just there in the back, private fucking like party, with his own stage, and no one was listening.
No one was paying attention.
And he plays to thousands and thousands, like stadiums full of people. But anyway,
it's got to be a mindfuck to him, right?
Yeah, it was just like the ego, like wow, just like not good enough for like Twitch partners, like.
Well, and talk about something like Twitch or something like even that situation where you realize, I'm just a big fish in a very small pond, right? Like even amongst, like, because there's even levels to it where you're like, you go hang out at like something like TwitchCon and you're like, that person's got way more going on than I do. Like, like, I get it now. I'm just very like, I've got my own little universe.
Yeah.
So Twitch itself is its own little thing, right?
Yeah.
And then I still have to explain to people like our age what Twitch is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
you're kind of like, no, people play games. Like they pay you to play games? Like, well, kind of.
That's technically not, but that's the yeah.
I'm a digital stripper. Okay, listen, I'm a digital stripper.
I get to keep my clothes on. I don't have to touch you.
Right.
You can just look at me and give me money. Sometimes actually a little nip slip might happen. And
the people that know you are just like, but I know you. You're not that interesting. Like I know you. Like you're just Lopez, right? So I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate that.
The support.
But I wanted to get you on here just to talk a little bit about the, just kind of what it's like to be you. And that's kind of the point of offline, is just to kind of get a glimpse. We're going to continue talking over at Lopez Radio. But,
okay.
But yeah, it's such a weird thing. And I'm still trying to figure out what offline even is.
Yeah.
So this is like the third episode of this.
Yeah.
But I feel like it could be a realistic view of content creators and not just people on Twitch, not just YouTubers, but anybody who does anything, comedians, actors, like anybody who does that. Because like we could probably spend, and we probably will spend time talking about you being an actor, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
no, I could talk about the offline like for this is like therapy. This is literally like, this is the shit you try to talk, and I do talk about it with my therapist, like and it's, bless his heart. Bless his heart. He has no idea. He just doesn't get it. He's called Twitter so many times.
Right.
He's like,
how was your tweet stream last night?
He said, I love him. I love him so much. He's like the sweetest older man. Like he's like my grandfather, and I just want him to adopt me. Honestly, he's just the best. But like trying to explain it, but he gets it and he listens, the gist of it. And then he'll just be like, wow, that was me. That's he kind of reminds me of Piglet a little bit, like Piglet,
The deer.
or he'll just be like, oh, he's very just like, oh, that must be really hard,
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, thanks.
Thank you.
Bob.
I needed that.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So, no, this is literally going to be like, you're going to be everyone's therapist, I think, eventually.
I mean, I think more of like the bartender that you just want to go and confide things into.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
Like we just have drinks and hang out, and that's kind of the vibe I want.
Yeah.
So hopefully it gets there. But thank you for being on this new venture of mine.
Yeah, thanks.
We're going to continue things over at Lopez Radio. There will be a link in the description below. Please check that out. It's at Lopez Radio for social medias. And if you want to follow Kitty here, it's at It's KittyKosmos for Twitter and Instagram, and at KittyKosmos for Twitch and
TikTok. You remembered. Good job.
I remember. I did it. Guys, we'll see you over on the Lopez Radio side. Have a wonderful time and go create something.
Woo woo. Just not on Twitch. Just don't do it.